Hello and welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet you at the International Congress for Qualitative Research and Theomethodologies, Bridging the Gap, sponsored by RTM and Leuphana University, Australia. My name is Verena Markel. I am a German researcher at the Leuphana University of Lüneburg in the northern part of Germany. Welcome to my presentation of my PhD study in International Childhood Studies and the child rights-based approach in the Global North. I'm a philosopher and studied philosophy and children's rights at the Free University of Berlin and combined international law, philosophy, politics, pedagogy, and psychology within a European Master in Childhood Studies and Children's Rights. So I like to learn and study in international and multicultural groups, and I'm very happy to be part of the new cohort for the International Research Fellowship of the RTM Institute in California for my doctoral and postdoctoral studies in 2025. Within my research, I'm trying to combine Eastern and Western philosophy lenses of ancient Greek and Asian philosophy, and I'm cooperating with the philosophy department of the University of Hawaii at Manoa. I am staying open to new wisdom like Socrates and the Buddhist philosophy of emptiness and nothingness. So these philosophical approaches fit very well with the paradigm of classic grounded theory of Barney Glaser, minimizing preconceptions and avoiding to apply existing theories to my research. I am very much interested in the perspectives and views of people, their daily lives, and their main concerns, and I'm touched and moved by their agency and strength interacting within an uncertain world. And these intergenerational interactions are the focus of my study. What is going on in the field? So the purpose of my study is to develop a theory of a main concern for expert teachers and students who are engaged in progressive educational intergenerational settings and their patterns of behavior. My research area is Philosophy for Children Hawaii. It's implemented as a peaceful, dignified educational approach at model schools in Oahu. My research question would be, what is the main concern of people engaged in P4C as a progressive educational intergenerational setting, and how do they resolve this concern? And a little bit more about my person. I am also a social and political activist and fighting against discrimination and social inequalities. I'm working for the child-friendly cities initiatives of UNICEF in Germany and helping over 10 cities and municipalities and their mayor and mayoress to become more aware of social exclusion and age-based discrimination, like adultism and also racism, ableism, or sexism. I'm trying to implement the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child by strengthening children's civic rights and political participation and their agency. Engaging in dialogue with children, it is more than just simply educating or teaching them. It is a real conversation about our world, lives, and wanderings, and learning from different views. Therefore, I will develop a grounded theory and grounded action study to implement my results for more dignified intergenerational interactions. And therefore, the Hawaiian spirit of aloha is very interesting for my research. Aloha is more than a word or greeting. Aloha is the essence of relationships in which each person is important to every other person for collective existence and the breath of life. So, zooming in, one approach promising and using the narratives of equity, inclusion, peace, and justice is the approach of Philosophy for Children Hawaii as democratic rights-based education, protecting dignity, and implementing a sense of community. Philosophy for Children, or shortly P4C, is my research area, especially at 6 model schools in the US on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. I gained a J1 Visiting Research Scholarship in 2022 at the UH and the Ohio Academy for Philosophy and Ethics in Education. The Ohio Foundation is also sponsoring ethical centers at Oxford University in the UK. So the cause for the movement of P4C Hawaii has been John Dewey's progressive education. Dewey has been visiting Hawaii in 1899, 1919, and 1951. Also Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed from 1970 and Matthew Lipman's Philosophy for Children from 1969. The Adapted Approach of Philosophy for Children Hawaii, P4C Hawaii, by Thomas Jackson in 1984 is a democratic approach for educating free, peaceful, and democratic citizens. It has been used as an intervention at school for inventing peaceful communities. One example I can show you is the visit of the Dalai Lama at Hawaiian model schools in Oahu 2012. It's an example of a traditional intergenerational dialogue.
Thank you. Now, next question.
Next question.
In this time of political unrest, leaders around the world promote many things. However, many haven't taken action to fulfill their promises. Can words be taken seriously?
So it is quite sad. I think world, everywhere, every sort of leader always say peace, peace, peace. And when you see there's certain things you see happen, then no concern about peace, just to use violence. That's why future is important. And we must make preparation now to create better sort of society where talk more about inner value. Then automatically the more compassionate mind respect others' right, serious sort of concern about others' well-being. Then there is no basis to tell lie, to cheat, to bully. Respect others. So then, honest, truthful comes. Then, meantime, transparency automatically comes.
Is too much compassion dangerous because it makes us vulnerable? For example, if I gave a homeless person money, but he attacked me because I refused to give him more, then my unbiased compassion make me vulnerable.
Forgiveness, tolerance does not mean you accept others' wrongdoing. Forgiveness means because of their wrongdoing, you develop some kind of anger, hatred, ill feeling towards that person. That should not develop.
So this is just a short example of an intergenerational dialogue. So why is it a traditional one? You see, the higher status group of adults is teaching the lower status group of children. There's also the narrative of children are the future. But we will also discover other ways and forms of intergenerational dialogues. So I have been conducting research on P4C since 2010. And I've done some field studies in 2022 in the US and Hawaii. And I have done field talks, participatory observations, online interviews, and also some analysis of existing transcripts. So the main population of my study has been the experts of the UH Academy, but also the teachers and students and their intergenerational interactions. So we will see just a quick overview of my material. We have the expert interviews, also student and teacher interviews, but we have also video transcripts and observational protocols of P4C sessions so that we can see their behavior and interactions. So to give you just a quick overview of different statements from students, teachers, and experts, I show you another short video clip.
In all of our circles, we follow a list of rights, not rules, that help guide and keep the circles safe.
One important tool for the P4C circle is the Leuphana ball. This tool helps you stay focused on the speaker, who gets to hold the Leuphana ball and chooses who to pass it to next.
Thank you so much to our Japanese visitors for joining our P4C circles.
Kind of thinking back, how did our circle go? Now, one of the questions I want us to reflect on is how we did with our listening. Were we all listening to each other, or were there some side conversations going on?
Reflections are important because it helps us see what we did well and what skills we need to improve on. Reflections are always the last thing we do in our P4C circles.
We sat down with some of our guests to find out what they think about P4C.
Why is P4C important to you?
P4C is important to me because what I saw was for the first time children in a circle where they were actually able to say what they were thinking, their ideas, and it wasn't what a teacher wanted them to think. The teacher, in that case, introduced a thought, but then the teacher didn't even know the answer. So I was seeing the amazing ideas that children have for the first time, and so I thought, I want children all around the world to have this opportunity.
I think P4C is important, not just for myself, but for the students, because it gives them an authentic voice, a real voice to capture what they're learning about. It's a way for them to practice their critical thinking skills, and it's a way to actually know what's going on inside of a student's mind.
Well, I think my work in P4C is clearly important to me because what I see P4C allowing us to do is to create a better world, because it really is trying to get people to think for themselves, but also to think with other people. And if we turn on the TV, we know that people have a hard time doing that. Right? We have a hard time listening to people, and I think what P4C does, it allows us to be confused about things, but it also gives us the opportunity to make sense of the world, and it gives us the opportunity to understand what we believe and be able to explain why we believe that by giving reasons and examples.
That's a big question. I think part of the answer is because I myself really like philosophy. I like thinking with people. I like thinking about things that are interesting. I like thinking about things that are meaningful. And I like thinking with people. I think the other part of the answer is that I think thinking with other people helps us do a better job of learning, right? And so I think that's what we do with P4C, is that we're helping people, I think, become better learners, and ultimately, I think, better people.
What do kids at Sunset Beach Elementary think about P4C?
I think P4C is important because you get to share your feelings and you get to know how other people think.
One important thing about P4C is that you get to share your own opinion.
Well, I like philosophy for children because it kind of teaches us about like attention, awareness, and about what's happening in the world. So it's very great.
I like philosophy for children because it makes me think differently and have my own opinion.
P4C helps me think about my thoughts that I never thought about before. I like when we all get in a circle and we talk about things.
I like P4C circles because they're just amazing because we get to talk about things that we never really think about.
I like P4C because it makes you think hard about questions and opinions. I like P4C because you get to share thoughts and opinions and stay focused.
I like P4C because you get to take your own turns and talk, and you usually don't argue, which is pretty fun.
C is important because you can talk about your feelings in safe environments. I think philosophy for children is really good for our thinking because when we ask new questions, we always have new answers, and there's more than one answer to think of. So there's not really an answer to every single question. So it helps us think more of multiple answers, and helps us think of other things outside of school too, like helping people.
Thank you for watching. For more information, please go to p4chawaii.org.
So I was trying to find an overall concern for all of the different target groups. So for the P4C expert, the teachers, and the students. And so far, it seemed to be the need for feeling safe in communities with sharing, listening, and voicing. So we see for the P4C experts, their main concern seemed to be leading the change, promoting the approach, using their status, academical voicing, for atmosphere and connectedness, making the subaltern speak, empowering, but also appropriating children's culture. For the teachers working at schools, it seemed to be like they want to making it work, keeping the structure, making the approach of P4C homey for them. It's more practical voicing of correcting, responding, reacting, praising, also silencing, managing the environment, keeping the attention, facilitating dialogues, conducting voices, and keeping the beat. For the P4C students, it's more like a personal voicing. They want to finding a place to belong to. It's voicing themselves, expressing themselves, experiencing themselves, expressing emotions, wondering. It could be the just sitting still and listening, being quiet, but it could also be more entering the deal and repeating the beat, like showing compliance, helping the teachers out, following the structure. And it could also be like a more transformative way and leading the dialogue, asking their own questions, wondering together. So there's one shared category of experiencing themselves, of a shared vibration, and living in the present moment of equality, regardless of status, norms, or age constructions. So we can have a look on a coding paradigm. So the main concern seemed to be feeling safe in communities, promoting the approach, and for the experts, leading the change for betterment. It shows a doing and reframing of culture by the materialization of voices and newish selves in mature communities. So the experts expressed their own biographical journey around the P4C Hawaii movement. So there's a shared origin or cause revealed in the study that can be named suffering surrounded by school, society, or just others. The past experience of being alone, not being heard, or being helpless and stuck within yourself caused the aiming for change and betterment by doing a newish culture. So it's promoted together with kindred spirits and spread by emotionalized experiences like a shared vibe and conducted voices. Some main patterns of behavior are cultural and emotional working with their own performative language. They have magical words, they have their good thinkers toolkit, they have the rules of the ohana, the community ball, they have primal wandering, intellectual safety, and it works through repeating rituals and producing atmospheres of excitement, vibration, compassion, wandering, and connectedness. There is a main pattern of acting like a conductor and giving the power and emotionalized energy to the group. There are also mechanisms of empowering the minors, the ones who lost their voices but not their positivity and hope, and the provision of open ears, praise, and audience to them. The highest level of group energy you can reach is love for the innermost ideas and shared thoughts of others, which leads to this experience of shared vibration. So the atmosphere of feeling safe in a community is established through voicing, or even more the materialization of cultivated selves through transformative, mediative, aspirative, and authoritative voices. So let's have a look on the core category of voicing. Most important, we have the transformative voice. It's a concept of change, of reframed interactions, equalizing, like learning from each other, being open to the wisdom of the group, regardless age and status. For example, the minor students are leading the educational conversation. Then the mediative voice is a concept of pacification, an emotionalized event, to practice emotions of inner peace and positive energies, vibes, feelings, and atmospheres within a diverse group, and to give everybody his or her identity through reactive voicing and listening and finding trust and a place to belong to. Then we have the aspirative voice. It's an educational voice. It's a concept of rituals to repeat important aspects of a new culture, like the communication rules, sitting in a circle, evaluating their progress, reflecting, intellectual safety, and constantly sharing and listening. And the authoritative voice, it's guiding through this process, naming discriminative or disruptive behavior and including procedural and content corrections. So the students are reacting to these different tones of voices by also expressing themselves, voicing, sharing, and vibrating together, or just complying and being silent, or by neglecting the rules or exiting the conversation. So there are intergenerational matches and mismatches observable, which can be transferred into a formal theory and to any other context or situation of intergenerational dialogues. And we will always have conversations of people from different age groups at work, in the media, and family, schools, and even in politics. So let's have a look on the statement of the founder of the movement, Dr. Thomas Jackson. What is a voice?
Kindergarten, we are filled with wonder, and our wonder bubbles out in these extraordinary questions. As you track most students through school, that diminishes. By the time they get to third grade, fourth grade, they're already shutting down. They're responding to the expectations of the system and of what the teacher wants.
The Philosophy for Children Hawaii Center helps everyone here retain their wonder and their curiosity.
So I think there's a lot of attachment between you and your mommies. So one question I have is, do you think you could live without your mommies?
No. Yeah, what if you fall down your bike and you hurt yourself and she can't help you?
Think about that. Let's think for a minute.
The aim is to encourage these children to think and talk about their thoughts.
What it does for you? The most difficult thing is to keep their attention. The kids get really restless. They don't always want to listen to each other. So this is George, and George serves as what we call a community ball. And a community ball is the speaking device. So the rule is only the person with George can speak.
So Thomas Jackson has been talking about how to encourage children to voice themselves, to find their voice, without being silenced or discriminated by an adultistic system. What is a voice? Christian Leuphana said 2016, the voice comes from the body. The voice is a carrier of meaning. The voice originates from the body and is a carrier of meaning. What is this hybrid being between body and mind that speaks to us under the title of the voice? So regarding my classic grounded theory and my theoretical coding and sorting memos, I can tell that the voice comes from inside and goes to the outside world. The voice does not longer belongs to us as soon as it leaves the body. It's a very personal experience, this voicing. So there is a transformation of the selves done by our bodies, forming us into words with our lungs, lips, tongues, throat, vocal cords, and every other part like body language, facial expression, mimic, and gesture. These various voices express and reveal us, our being, our identity of gender, abilities, age, class, race, culture, and humanity, just the pure form of being, readable just by the tone and sound, habit and content of the materialized voices. Our voice is carrying our identity, our true self, our dignity. So, while voicing, we are very vulnerable. It's a transmission state when our ideas leave our body with the sound waves of our voice and materialize ourselves. We give our inner selves with our voice away. As soon as it leaves our body, it no longer belongs to us, it belongs to the outside world, the community. So it can either be welcomed and paid homage to, or be abused, harmed, violated, and be silenced by others with their rejecting bodies and deaf ears. This is something that our children experience every day. You are not allowed to do, you're not old enough. When I speak, I am voicing and expressing myself and hoping for any other body to listen, to understand, and to react on me. That it falls on open ears and meets open arms. Then it vibrates. We interact and connect. I feel understood. I feel my impact on the other body. I am influencing the public sphere, the outside world. I feel my power and I feel empowered. So political silencing or educational silencing is harmful. We are only allowed to speak, raise our voice, or vote when we fit and obey. Only we are conformed or try to be as expected. If we want to protect ourselves and our dignity, we protect our voices. We stay silent and invisible, masking ourselves. We are mistrusting the community and the community is mistrusting us. Or the opposite. We stay loud, we want to lead, dominating conversations, producing mini-me's, making kindreds in order to larging me, regarding our need to feel safe in communities. Philosophy, or P4C, is an invitation for reactive voicing and listening, to literally breathe in and breathe out, to become the nothingness and emptiness after voicing, and also the fullness and compassion while listening. Like the spirit of aloha and the philosophy of breath, we eat other voices and our voices is be eaten by others. Voicing and listening are binary poles. We have the chance to grow and to become more when we connect, but also facing the risk of uncertainty after self-revelation. This is the theory of voices. It's a theory of being and becoming and of doing culture, out of fear or out of love. So what do we learn from this theory of voices regarding mechanisms of doing culture and reframing situations and interactions, and the reconstruction or deconstruction of normative voices or age constructions in order to free and transform discriminated voices of the subalterns like children? The progressive approach P4C Hawaii becomes a change agent itself, providing its own agency, language, and performances, and being implemented as a helpful reframed structure. The belief in this new frame or counterframe leads to another consequence. And this is the crisis of the old dominant frame, the mature adult frame. Maturity does no longer belong to a specific age or status, it belongs to the group and the community. The community is aging and maturing together. Learning from each other and shaping new structures are intervened. And this process causes moments of crisis regarding the old frames of domination, exclusion, achievement orientation, and competition on both sides, for the powerful and the powerless, the dominant groups and the subalterns. So social political power structures prevent progressive educational approaches like P4C Hawaii from becoming overall effective. These are our conditions, like children having no civic rights, forced into compulsory education and structures of adultism, age hierarchies, and generational order. However, research like grounded theory and grounded action shows that these projects enable their participants to resist adultistic narratives and performances by refusing their language and practices. As an effort, research gains ideas of age-different learning environments and structures, and ideas of relational thinking and counterframings within generational arrangements. So, what is a voice? Just summarized by the definition of the main population to break up the tensity of our theory. So this is about the concept of a mediative voice that leads to a transformative voice. It's the concept of shared vibration and moments of equality. I will read out a statement. Everyone has their own instrument, which is very personal. A voice is like sound waves. That's properly the case with many musical instruments. I used to play the guitar, so I know. If you play a note that next to a guitar string that corresponds to that note, then it starts to vibrate, right? So it's like I play a note that then creates this resonance in the string. It has the same frequency and vibrates. The experience I had with P4C was the sound of a voice necessarily triggered the same thing in me. And just the idea and the raw thought triggered something in me that resonated with my own experience. So I realized that there was a human articulating something that resonated with my own understanding of the world, whether that was a child or an adult. And that to me would be the connection or the energy that is similar to playing a note on a certain frequency that is in another. So thank you very much for listening and paying attention, and hopefully you are reacting on me. Thank you and stay safe and connected. And reach out to me for any further questions. Thank you and goodbye.